What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hammerdown Motorsports. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Here in Pennsylvania, we are having a little bit of cloudy, rainy kind of fall weather. But if you guys are new to the channel, my name is Steve Fast, and this is the Hammerdown Motorsports Garage. Behind us, we have the 2019 Ram Rebel, and we do have our wheel liners off on the back of our truck. I did end up putting in the rock lights last night. I got them pretty much roughly wired in there, and I do need 2 more extension wires. All in all, I had to use 6 extension wires just to get from the module in the front all the way to the back, just to get everything so it could be lit up. But when it's done, it's gonna look absolutely awesome. But in addition to that, we did have to remove our rear wheel liners anyway for our next mod. So let's show you guys what that is. All right, here's the box. This is our part number right here. This is a genuine Mopar part. I'll open it up here. So we've got some fancy zip ties. We've got our instructions. We've got another large bag of zip ties. And in this box here should reveal what we're doing to the truck today. And there we have it. We've got the bed lights from Mopar for the 2019 Ram. So if your truck didn't come with these from factory, you can order this kit from Chrysler. We're gonna install the wiring and the lights today and pin it into the BCM. And I'm not entirely sure if we're gonna have to actually have them program this. They told me that you do, but I guess we're gonna wait and see. And also for our previous 2019 Ram, I did order a trailer brake controller. This is the genuine Mopar one. It did take a while to come in, so I don't know how readily available these are right now, but I ordered it. Probably took about 6 months to get it, but everything is here in the box. The Rebel already has a trailer brake controller, so I don't need this one anymore, but you have everything you're gonna need if you wanna put this in your truck. So if anybody's interested in this, just drop me a DM on Instagram and maybe we can work out a deal. All right, so first thing in our instructions, we're gonna disconnect our negative terminal on our battery. Then we're gonna go underneath the dash. We're gonna remove these 2 fasteners, and then we're gonna remove this plate underneath the steering wheel, and then we're gonna bring this down and remove the electrical connectors. All right, so we got our negative disconnected on our battery. Then on our panel just below the steering wheel, you're just gonna wanna pull the 7mm screws on the bottom off, and then you just pull on the panel, and it's just held in with the rest of these clips. So next up, we're gonna open up the left rear door, and then we're gonna take the little compartment that's underneath the floor mat out, just kind of give us a little bit of room to work for our wiring, and then we're gonna lift up the truck. And now that that's out, we've got a big hole that goes all the way to the ground. So next up, they want you to remove the wheel liners. What we have done already is remove the driver's side front and the 2 rears for the rock light setup. So we've already got that done. It's pretty simple. All you have to do is remove the retaining screws and just pull them out of the way, and we're on to the next step. So now we got our truck nicely lifted up. We do have our passenger and driver's side rear fender liners down, as well as the driver's side front. We have our spare tire removed. If you guys want a more in-depth look at how to do that, I did make a video on that as well, so definitely check it out. But now we're ready to grab our wiring harness and start installing it as per the instructions. All right, we have our harness just roughly kind of laid out here. This is the part that's gonna go towards the front of the truck. Then we got it strung up over here on top of the shock, on top of the spring mount, and then over here, you can see where our ground is gonna go to that rear location. And then as we follow our harness along, you can see it goes up over top like that. And then over here, we have our zip tie tying up the branch. And our wire with the 2 ends is gonna go towards the left. And our longer one with the single end is gonna go up over the frame. And then we're gonna route over our passenger side wire just along this harness up over the frame. Then as it comes up over the frame, it's gonna go up through this hole right here. And if you look up in there, you can actually see the back side of the plastic cover. So over here we do have the front of our wiring. You can see it's at the front of the truck. They do give you a little bit extra slack here, but before we tie it all down, I'm just gonna show you kind of the routing that I went. I went over here, just kind of behind this body mount, and then you basically just wanna follow the factory harness as you go along. And we do have some rock lighting wiring that needs to be tied up yet, but over here is our big hole in the floor. It isn't 100% necessary to remove that. It does make life a little bit easier, but all in all, for the time it takes to pull that out, you could probably work around it. And then our harness just kind of goes up here on top, goes around the back side of this body mount, goes through this bracket, and then around the back side of our shock tower, and then over top of our spring mount, So now that we have our harness kind of loosely put in the truck, we haven't tied anything down yet, but we're pretty much all the routing is where we want it to be. We're gonna lower down the truck, we're gonna remove those plastic covers that are in the bed, and we can install our lights. So here is our cover right here where our new light is gonna go. Just took a little screwdriver, kind of popped it underneath, flexed it a little bit, get the clips to remove. And it's just these little plastic clips that hold this piece on, and you can get this thing out of the way, get ready for our new lights. So now we're gonna identify our right and left lights. Our right light is not gonna have the button on it, being that it only has the one plug. See on our wiring harness, only one plug on that one. Our driver's side has two because it does have the switch as well. Now we're ready to plug in our passenger side and set it in place. Also, before installing this, make sure that RAM is on the top. You'll see the orientation and make sure that that's the right side up. Also, you can see the design of these. There is a tab on the bottom and a clip on the top. So you want to make sure you put the bottom in first and then snap in the top. And there it is. And now we got our driver's side wiring attached, and we're going to do the same thing over here. Bottom in first, snap in the top. And I gotta say, it definitely looks a whole lot better in here already. And especially with the tonneau cover, having these lights is gonna be a really nice thing to have. So now we're gonna lift the truck back up. We're gonna go back underneath and put on our zip ties in all the locations specified by the instructions. And then as the wire comes over here by this part of the bed, this is where this special zip tie is gonna go. It's got the little clip on it. That's just gonna go in this slot, snap into place. And when you're ready to tie everything down, you can zip tie your harness right there. All right, so we have our wire all nicely zip tied in place, and I did use a little creative license with this. I went through and I just kind of zip tied every spot that I thought should be done. I went and kind of skim read through the instructions, made sure that all the important parts were done, and I kind of looped things around a little bit in a way that I wanted to do. So it's kind of up to you which way you want to do this, but all in all, you just want to make sure nothing's going to rub, get pinched, burnt, anything like that, and everything's nicely out of the way, and you shouldn't have any problems whatsoever. All right, rear wheels are on, spare is back up. Just gotta torque the lug nuts. We got a whole pile of cutoffs here from our zip ties. You can see how many zip ties you actually have to use for this job, just to make sure it's done properly. I always try to make sure that if somebody else were to see my work, that they would be able to say, okay, at least this guy took a little bit of attention to detail to make sure it was done right. So we are pretty much done up to this point. Now you can see we still have our wire here, just kind of laid over. And we're gonna have to run it up this black part here, was actually the protective covering for our harness. And then where they recommend to go through the firewall is that kind of little rubber piece sticking out of that square black part. And I guess they want you to cut it off, stick the wire through there, and then put some RTV on it. I think I could probably get away with just putting a slit in it, slide the wires through, and then just kind of seal it up from there. And we should be good to go. If not, we can always go through where I went through over here. This is just a cable that comes out, so you're not worried about hitting any wiring or anything like that, but I was able to just kind of sneak it beside that. That's where our switch is for our rock lights. But we're gonna get all this tied up in here, getting access to the inside of the cab. Then we can kind of get this all tidied up over here, get this wheel back on, and then we can make our connections underneath the dash. All right, now that as the rain is starting on the roof, we're gonna get through this real quick just to give you guys an idea of what you have to do to finish up this job. Over here, I have my wiring nicely tied up. I actually went through over here by this cable just because it was a whole lot easier to see from the inside under the dash than the one up here. So this is gonna work. We got lots of slack inside there. We're just gonna tie that up after we pin it into our BCM. As far as pinning it into the BCM, they have the diagram here in the book, so you know exactly which plugs to remove, which pins to put it in, which color wire to go in, and that's basically the end of this job. So before the rain comes on too hard and I can't even talk in here anymore because it gets super loud with the metal roof and everything like that, we are going to be just finishing up this job, and I'm going to be giving you guys an update on the next video, whether you can just turn them on with a switch in the back or if you have to go to the dealer and have them programmed. I think for the function of opening up the tailgate and then having them come on automatically, there is something that has to be programmed with the BCM, but I will be letting you guys know about that on the next video, so definitely check that one out as well. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and as always, keep that hammer down. And it doesn't appear that they're turning on. Let's hit the switch. And nothing. So just as I suspected, we are gonna have to take it to the dealer so they can go into the computer and just turn on that option, tell the truck that it actually has bed lights now, and I think we should be good to go.